Good morning, everyone. Okay, let's do our exercise first here, because I have something on my mind I want to talk about. Let's see if I'm getting the go ahead for it. Kind of. Okay, are you thinking in the right direction? So between 5:03 and 6:69, let's go with 5:12. 5:12. What do I got? Psalm 18. I will love thee, O Lord, my strength. The Lord is my rock and my fortress and my deliverer, my God, my strength, in whom I will trust, my buckler and the horn of my salvation. Oh, that's a long one. My high tower. I will call upon the Lord, who is worthy to be praised. So I shall be saved from mine enemies. The sorrows of death compassed me, and the floods of ungodly men made me afraid. I must stop there. There's way more. Psalm 18 is really long. I'll read the rest to myself. It's a long one. 2 pages. The sorrows of death compassed me, and the floods of ungodly men made me afraid. Well, one could say a whole lot to that. Not afraid of ungodly men. Really, when it comes down to it, I think they need a good spanking or something. Well, anyway, what am I saying? So, I'm going to go ahead with, it's like Spirit Rose, you just talk about whatever you want to. It's always going to be good. We're always going to be good with it. As long as what? I stick with what? What did it say? Uh-huh. You got to keep yourself God-centered in everything. There's no left or right or up or down or big or small. You stay within that lane. Done. Right? Yes? And then know as well, right? When to say something, when not to say something. All right. There goes all that with it. Right? It's called wisdom. Yes. I've mentioned this before. I like to play certain games that they have. It's something that kind of challenges me. And so there was this one. It's all these cars, and you have to get them in the right lane, this and that. And it says, to begin with, right? And that's what attracted me yet. Let me go and see if that's true. Most people to me is 90%, 95% of people can't pass level 23. That's what it said. All right, it didn't say which how many people are most people, but they're going, really? Well, if that were really true, then why is that game even on there? Level 23? You get there pretty quick. Right? Well, anyways, I thought, well, maybe this is a really difficult game, and you have to really, right? Yeah? Okay. I went in and started, and right from the bat, I started laughing. And sure enough, okay, within 30 minutes or even less, I was past 23. When I got to 30, I thought, well, now it's just all, this is just, it might take you a little longer as you go higher up, but there has to be, if a game is designed to fail, where you fail, right, then it's not. There has to be, without having to pay money, without whatever, there's got to be a way to do the game, right, to finish the game, right? Yes? All right, you know what I mean? Otherwise, to me, that's not a game. Then it's a faulty game designed to do what? For you to open your wallet. Oh, what about Oh, so hey, I'm one of the few percent to actually, I'm not most, I'm the few. And few, as far as I know, is no more than 3. Okay, go look it up. Anyway, I thought, oh, look, I'm one of the few who made it past level 23. Wow, right? Yes. Isn't that? Is that when people don't really think when it comes to certain stuff, you're gonna feel really, yeah, I'm really smart out there now. I'm smart. I got this. Really? Or are you being hoodwinked? Are you being fooled? Right? Yes? I'd say that my grandson, who's 8, could play this game and make it way past um, level 23. My older granddaughter, I guarantee you that she'd be even faster than I am. Okay, just saying. Then I found while I was playing that one, I'm going, man, this is getting boring, and I already got rid of it. This is getting boring. I found that other math one where it's these squares and there's plus, minus, multiplication, and division signs. No more than that. No algebra or calculus or stuff like that. Just simple math. And you have to fill in the numbers. And there's 4 levels: easy, medium, hard, and expert. I'm looking at this and going, well, what bother with any of the other ones? I'm going to go straight to expert, right? I'm looking at it and going, oh, wow, this is actually... So you have a certain set of numbers that fits everywhere, right? Or you have to figure out where it fits. And you have very little in the squares. And I'm looking, it's not Sudoku, okay? I'm looking, I'm going, okay, where do I start? Right? So that's for where do I start? So it took me about 12 minutes to do that one. But I did it. Yes, I did it. And I started it and then realized, no, I put the numbers wrong. And you can take them back out and restart. And it's nice, huh? And then the second time around, I got it. So it took me about 12 minutes for the first one. I thought, oh, I'm going to do another one. The second one took me 5 minutes. Okay, that's expert, people. All right. Oh, well, you're just so smart. No, I'm not. I am a very average IQ. I am. I consider myself of average IQ, but average in everything. Okay? Yes? Okay. Again, if that's expert, and I have to say, I'm looked at it as, well, I don't know how much harder you could make it, really, when it comes down to it. So I thought about, I'll test the people in the house and give them one and see how they fare with it. My feeling is that everyone here will actually solve them faster than I can. Well, anyway, so there it is. These games, they're fun. Yes, I know, right? It's kind of for me, it's like multitasking. I play the games while I'm also watching something, right? Yes? Yeah. I get bored just sitting there watching something. That's boring to me, right? So I have to do something else while I'm doing that. Unless really tired and fall asleep on watching these shows and stuff. Which I got into a new one, which is called Young Sheldon. Really interesting. I look at this kid. Yeah, okay, I'm not a genius like this kid is or anything, but a lot of things that he says, does, and thinks about, I'm going, oh yeah, I know exactly what he's talking about. Or in a way, on how he related to people. Okay, all right, I was not in that show. That kid is pretty verbal and it doesn't quite know the line, right? Of the privacy within people, or how do you say, etiquette and stuff. Okay, etiquette in social standings, right? Yes. So he's making people uncomfortable. He's telling the truth in many ways, right? But he's making everyone uncomfortable. Interesting, now. All right. Okay, let's get going here. If I remember that, I'll talk about that at the end. All right, we are in Book of Kings 1. The first Book of Kings, 9. Yahweh appears a second time. Oh, when did he appear first? Okay. When Solomon had finished building the temple of Yahweh, the royal palace, and everything else which Solomon had wanted to do, Yahweh appeared to Solomon a second time, as he had appeared to him at Gibeon. Was he building the temple and the palace at the same time? Is that why this is so confusing? Okay, which part is he working on the palace now, or is he working on the temple? All right. Yahweh appeared to Solomon a second time as he had appeared to him at Gibeon. Yahweh said to him, I have heard your prayer and the entreaty which you have before me. I consecrate this temple which you have built. I place my name there forever. My eyes and my heart will be there always. The temple doesn't exist anymore, people. What happened? For your part, if you walk before me in innocence of heart and in honesty, like your father David, God said to Solomon that David walked in front of him in innocence of heart and in honesty. Really? Well, I could go and point out a whole bunch of stuff to say, no, he didn't. So, okay, proof God, that's not God talking here. If you do everything that I command and keep my laws and my ordinances, I shall make your royal throne secure over Israel forever, as I promised your father David when I said, you will never lack for a man on the throne of Israel. But if you turn away from me, either you or your descendants, and instead of keeping my commandments and laws which I have laid down for you, you go and serve other gods and worship them, then I shall banish Israel from the country which I have given them, and shall disown this temple which I have consecrated for my name, and Israel will be a proverb and a byword among all peoples. Wow. Okay, now if this were true, I would have some questions for the people of Israel today. As for this once exalted temple, everyone who passes by will be appalled. Whoa! And they will whistle and say, why has Yahweh treated this country and this temple like this? And the answer will be because they deserted Yahweh their God, who brought their ancestors out of Egypt, and they adopted other gods and worshipped and served them. That is why Yahweh has brought all these disasters on them. Is that why the temple doesn't exist anymore? Questionable if it ever existed. I don't know. I have no idea. The bargain with Hiram. Oh, that's the bronze worker. At the end of the 20 years that it took Solomon to erect the two buildings. Oh, so he did. First he built one and then the other. 20 years. 7 and, 12. Okay, 20. That's almost 20. The temple of Yahweh in the royal palace. Hiram, king of Tyre, had provided Solomon with all the cedar wood, juniper wood, and gold that he wanted. Oh, wait a minute. So Hiram, the bronze worker, and Hiram, the king, they have the same name. Are these two different people or the same people? That seems to be a bit too much of a coincidence here. King Solomon gave Hiram 20 towns in the territory of Galilee. But when Hiram came from Tyre to view the towns that Solomon had given him, he was not pleased with them. He said, what kind of towns are these you have given me, brother? And to this day they are known as Kabul land. Hiram sent the king 120 talents of gold. What did I say? How are the people faring in Israel while Solomon was doing all this? Here, 20 towns. 20 towns. So Solomon, for all that Hiram, the king of Tyre, gave him, Solomon gives him what? 20 towns are in such disrepair, so poor, I don't know what. That's what I'm hearing out of this. And Hiram, the king, is not pleased. And feels, wow, this is how you treat me after all this? 20 years of providing Solomon with I don't know what. And Solomon is giving him what? Because there isn't anything better? Why? Aha. You see, I'm not wrong when I say certain things, when I come to certain conclusions, and though I don't really know, but somehow the truth always comes out, doesn't it? Yeah. Okay, gotcha. Mm-hmm. Forced labor for Solomon's building program. There we go. Slavery. Good, is doing well and is alive. Is alive and doing well. This is an account of the forced labor levied by King Solomon for building the temple of Yahweh, his own palace, the Milo, and the fortifications of Jerusalem. Hazar, Megiddo, Gezer, Pharaoh, king of Egypt, mounted an expedition, captured Gezer, burnt it down, and massacred the Canaanites living there. The heck? Oh, but that's interesting. Because it always seemed like, remember when they got into Canaan, the Israelites got into Canaan, they kind of wiped out. There's the story about and how they, hey, you guys should all get circumcised. And then they did, the men, and then the men were kind of, for a few days. And that was a good time to go in and kill everybody. Did the Israelites actually do that? Or are we finding out now that actually the Pharaoh of Egypt did that? Did they mix up some stories there? Or, again, what? Okay, it's interesting. Okay. He then gave the town as a dowry to his daughter, Solomon's wife. And Solomon rebuilt Gezer, lower Beth Horon. Well, there you go. Balath, Tamar in the desert inside the country. All Solomon's storage towns owned by Solomon, all the towns for his chariots and horses, and whatever Solomon was pleased to build in Jerusalem, in the Lebanon, and in all the countries under his rule. All those who survived of the Amorite, Hittite, Perizzite, Hivite, and Jebusite peoples who were not Israelites, their descendants still remaining in the country, on whom the Israelites had not been able to enforce the curse of destruction, these Solomon levied as forced laborers, as is still the case today. So the curse of destruction is wipe them out. Wipe them all out. Ay, people, I'm telling you what, if this is true, what are we hearing here? As is still the case today. Okay. At that time. Solomon did not, however, impose forced labor on the Israelites. He didn't enslave his own people. Hey, he was such a wise and intelligent king. Come on now. Yeah. Oh. For they were soldiers, his officials, his administrators, his officers, and his chariot and cavalry commanders. I don't know how this sounds to you guys, but okay. There were 550 officials in charge of the foremen over Solomon's work, who supervised the people employed on the work. After Pharaoh's daughter had moved from the city of David up to the palace which he had built for her, he then built the Milo. I don't know what the Milo is. 3 times a year, Solomon presented burnt offerings and communion sacrifices on the altar which he had built for Yahweh, and set his burnt offering smoking before Yahweh. Then he completed the temple. Thus he completed the temple. Okay. Solomon the trader. Solomon as ship owner. King Solomon equipped a fleet at Ezion Geber, which is near Elat, on the shores of the Red Sea in Edom. For this fleet Hiram sent men of his, experienced sailors, to serve with those in Solomon's service. They went to Ophir and took on 420 talents of gold, which they brought back to Solomon. I have no idea what that means. What, did he go and rob people? All right. The trader. What did he trade? I guess we'll find out. Ooh, the Queen of Sheba visits Solomon. Wife number 701. Okay. I'll find out. Okay, there you go. Not much to say. just keeps on going. We're not really finding out a whole lot about the Israelites, except for that he had a really small portion of them in his service, right? And we know now that if Hiram wasn't pleased with the towns, that the people probably weren't doing so well. The commoners, yes. I know how we can have peace in this world. If the commoners stop picking up weapons to kill other commoners from other countries and just say, no, not flying that plane with these bombs. No, not picking up them guns and start shooting others. Not going to do it. Then what are they going to do? That's it. Maybe they could just have their own ring of, boxing ring or building somewhere in the world, out in the desert somewhere or the Arctic, and go there and shoot each other, the leaders, right? Yes? I'm just saying. Right? If the commoners would just step back and say, all around the world, no, done. Done killing other people's fathers and mothers, sons and daughters. Done with that. Because I would rather not have them kill us either. It's kind of a simple solution, but everybody would have to work together, right? Teamwork makes the dream work. I'm going to leave you with that today. God's love, blessings always. May He protect you, and I will talk to y'all another time.